Concerns are growing over Anthropic's new AI model. We reported earlier this week. A new report warns the AI technology is too powerful to be released to the public. Now, the program is designed to find security flaws in software, but some experts worry about it falling into the wrong hands. Joining us is Matt Shumer. He's a former AI company founder and AI venture capitalist. So glad that you are joining us today. We were kind of talking about this in the break, so I'll start there. I mean, you have this very powerful model that everyone is raising alarm bells about, and we need to regulate this. But at the same time, you have other countries like China not thinking about it the same way. How do you wrap your head around the possible dangers to a consumer, but also the possible dangers to the world and the U.S.?
It's a very tricky line to walk, right? Because China is full steam ahead. They are not going to stop because of these dangers, these concerns. They want to win. We are ahead, but they're pretty close, and we need to keep it that way. The problem is, how do you regulate these things in a way that allows the companies to continue innovating, but doesn't hurt the average American, the average consumer? I think it needs to be regulated at a capability level, not how big is this model, how much compute was used to train it, but what can it do? Should we run a series of tests before we actually allow this thing into the wild for certain use cases? It's one of the trickiest things because you want to make sure that the American companies have a reason, an economic incentive to innovate, but you don't want to prevent them from being able to stay ahead of China, right? It's really tough. And I don't think anybody's figured out the right answer yet.
You know, the news that was made last week that Kelly alluded to was the fact that Anthropic had developed a technology related to AI as part of AI that was so powerful that they didn't believe that it was safe in the hands of the American people and basically me and you, just regular normies. And I wonder, it made me wonder, Matt, if artificial intelligence is important for the masses to have. And what I mean by that is it's great to create fun memes. It's great to use it as a research assistant if you're using Claude or ChatGPT to help you research a project. But that's just scratching the surface of what artificial intelligence can do. Is that the only level of AI that people should have access to? Or should we, normies, have access to the full capabilities of Muggles? Yeah. Should we have access to the full capability of artificial intelligence? Because it strikes me, if I just use the internet as an example, that could be dangerous, just on its surface alone.
I think it's important that we do. I think it's important that we do in a safe way, and I think that can mean different things depending on the AI model. But if we don't have access, people in China will. They're going to outcompete us on almost every front. That's not a world we want to live in. It's not just about the safety. It's about how do we stay competitive as a nation. So I think it's important that we have access. What I think Anthropic is doing is an amazing thing. They're giving the world sort of a heads up, a head start, so that we can get this right before other companies and other AI labs end up developing something with similar capabilities and use it in a bad way, right? But I think it's still extremely important that we get this right, both to protect Americans, but also give them the power to compete with the rest of the world. Otherwise, we're going to fall behind.
I got a final question for you, but just on that point, when you said, should we have access, immediately like the independent in me is like, wait, I don't want companies only having access to this, or God forbid, governments, because then you widen that wealth inequality.
But it's sort of like giving, you know, you give fire to somebody, and then the first thing they think is, I could cook my food, but I can also burn my neighbor's house down.
To the point about regulation, right? I mean, AI is just such a broad term. How we would use it to help with research is going to be very different. How the medical field would use it to potentially cure cancer. How do you regulate something that is so widely used in different ways and also is evolving so quickly that we can't even figure out what the regulations would be for something in 2 or 3 years?
So here's a crazy idea.
Okay, yes, lay it on us.
Create a series of tests, right? Just like you would for humans. Create a series of tests that say, okay, for these capabilities that we expect the AIs to have at some point, we don't know when they're going to come, right? Cyber risk, bio risk, everything else we're thinking about. Create a series of tests that say, given an AI model, run it through this, and let's get a score on how good it is at each of these things. And when it gets good enough at, let's say, bio to start posing a concern, then we regulate it in a specific way that we've already set out in advance. Who cares how many parameters it has? Who cares how much money was spent to train it? If it can do X, Y, Z, it should be regulated in that way that's necessary, right? I think it needs to be done based on tests, and we need to develop really thoughtful tests to know exactly where these things are in terms of their capabilities on all these different dimensions at any given point in time. Anthropic didn't know that the model that they were cooking was going to come out with these cyber abilities. But they had tests to do this. The government should have that too, and they should be working with the companies to implement them.
All right, Matt Shumer, we could talk to you
stuff.
for hours.
Yeah, we really could.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
you being
Matt.
here.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.